In logistics, we have different types of challenges, in the sense things that might come up unforeseen, that we don't really anticipate. To put it more clearly, something that happens without any expectation. Like, for example, in transport, in warehouse, in last mile, anything can happen out of the blue that we haven't been prepared for. Okay. The main challenges that we can face are in these four problems: transport management, warehouse management, and last mile delivery. And then we're going to talk about risk management, how we can solve these problems without maximum damage to the supply process or the supplier, or the consumer. Okay. Now, in transport management, what do you understand by transport? What exactly is transport, where logistics is concerned? It can be the road transport, it can be sea transport, it can be air transport. It could be the main modes of transport. It could be the intermediate transport. When I talk about intermediate, intermodal, for example, like I've explained before, say supposing a container has to be loaded at a shipyard for it to be loaded onto the ship. But there are packages that need to go into that container. There is a route that the container has to take from wherever it is being loaded to come to the dock. You know what the dock is, right? At the shipping port. Okay. So there also, there can be a delay. Then while traveling on the sea, while the sea journey is taking place, there can be unexpected. The main cause of for something that is unforeseen in sea transport would be the weather conditions. That can be the only reason why there would be a delay in weather. The same thing goes for air. It could be a weather disruption. It could be any other kind of logistics, like, for example, the airport can have an issue. There can be another flight that is being delayed. It could be that something urgent needs to reach on time. So they have not managed to stick to the cutoff time. Sorry, I'm still a little. The other things that can be for transport, in case of road transportation, can be routes, optimizing the routes, optimizing the network of what needs to go where, what time is needed. Then there can be traffic congestions, it can be roadworks, different things. All these lead to unforeseen delays, unforeseen stuff that you have not really anticipated for. Okay. Like, for example, let's think of a good example. Say, supposing you are the one who is managing the transport. Okay, let's put you in this situation. You are the one running the transport department. So when I say transport department, what all do you think would come under you? What all would be your responsibility?
Transportation to handle that transportation, managing the flow itself.
Yes, but keep in mind, you are working for a logistics company. Okay, you are working with a logistics company. So besides optimizing the routes, besides planning out the routes, you also have a fleet to take care of. When I say fleet, what do I mean? You have, say, supposing a certain number of vehicles that you look after, whether it is trucks or small pickup vans or, small delivery vans. This also becomes part of your network. So besides optimizing the routes, besides planning out the routes, besides keeping in mind the traffic congestion, the peak hours, the low hours, you also have to take care of vehicle maintenance. Another thing that comes for you if you are in charge of transport, cost cutting. Are you going to use petrol against diesel? What is if there is any tolls, you have to keep all that also in mind. Like, for example, if there is two routes and one route takes you through a toll where you've got to pay, and one route takes you without a toll, but a longer route, you have to weigh your options. Do I pay extra for the toll and make sure the delivery reaches my client within the specified time? Do I take the alternative route, which is maybe 10 minutes longer, but you have to weigh all these also, okay? The same thing goes if you're managing a fleet. Oil checkups, maintenance, tire changes, all these things also have to be looked after. This is if you're looking after a fleet, which most logistics companies, they would have that. Then also a little bit that comes under transport management is ensuring that for all the goods that are being transported, each thing would have its own documentation. Okay, documentation is important where transport is concerned. Why? At the borders, at the toll points, if they ask what is inside the container, what is in the truck, what is the load that you're carrying, you need to have the proper documentation. Otherwise, there again you will be delayed. Delay at the toll points means what? If you're stuck there for an hour, what happens along the way? All that gets disrupted, right? So the customer or the client also receives the goods an hour late. So transport management is not just about planning the routes. It's not just about taking the easiest route or the quickest route. It's not about cost cutting alone. It's not about looking after the vehicles and the fleet, their maintenance, but also ensuring that whatever documentation you require for the goods, that needs to be taken, that needs to be in place. Now, another thing in transport that you need to take care of, the different kinds of goods that you are transporting. What are the different types of goods that you could be transporting? Sorry? What are the different types of goods you could be transporting? We said transport management, the challenges that we can have. We're talking about, you understand what is the meaning of the word challenge, yes? What is a challenge?
Face the, I know, but
It's okay, don't worry. In logistics, when we talk about challenges, we are talking about the difficulties. The difficulties that we can face in the field of logistics. So among those difficulties, we've divided them into four different sections. Actually, one is reference. So we have all the difficulties we can face in transport management. We have the difficulties that we can face in warehouse management, and we have the difficulties that we can face in last mile. Okay, so right now we're trying to talk about what kind of difficulties we can face when it comes to transport management. And when we talk about transport management, we're not talking only about the modes of transport, but we're talking about the entire spectrum. So it can be road, it can be rail, sea, land, but also the network surrounding it, the connections, the connectors. Understand? Yeah. So when we talk about, like we mentioned, it is not just the routes, it is not just the speed, it is not just the distance, it's not just the cost cutting or the saving or the energy saving, and the documentation. Also, the challenge can arise from the kind of goods that we are transporting. Like, for example, different types of goods that can be shipped are what? You have a hard material, soft material, wet material, fresh material. What else do you have? What are the different goods that you can ship?
Raw materials.
Hmm?
Raw materials.
Raw materials, semi-assembled goods, completed products. You have minerals, you have rocks, you have gas, you have dangerous items, you've got dangerous liquids, you've got produce, you have consumer-related items. So each and everything needs to be transported with its own set of rules, with its own care. Correct? Like, for example, say supposing you have 2 containers. Or no, let's not take the containers at this point. Let's take the goods that you have, okay? You've got a delivery for fresh flowers. Okay, you've got delivery for fresh flowers for a wedding. So it's not 1 or 2, it's a huge number of flowers, okay? Then you've got also food items going to the same wedding. It could be already prepared food stuff or raw materials that need to be prepared. All right. So you've got 1 cargo that is fresh flowers, or rather 1 shipment that is fresh flowers, 1 shipment that is food items, both raw materials, raw ingredients, at the same time, stuff that needs to be, and at the same time, that is ready-made, ready-to-eat items. You understand what I'm saying? Okay. Another set of, another piece of cargo that you can have is probably, say, textile, cloth material. Okay. And then the 4th item that you have, the 4th set of goods that you have is, let's say, medical waste. Like you use needles or no, not medical waste. Let's say it is medical, what do you call it? Like blood samples and stuff. Stuff that needs to be in a lab. You have 4 different sets of cargo. What are the 4 different sets of cargo you have? Huh?
Air freight, ship.
No. Why are you going to air freight and ship freight? We're talking about transporting. So what are the 4 different materials I've just given you? The 4 different types of shipments.
Receiving.
Sorry?
Storing.
Aditya, you're not listening to what I just said, or you do not understand what I just said. We're talking about handling transport management, the risk factors, and we just said that you have 4 different shipments. We're talking about, what are we talking about?
Sorry.
Hmm? What is today's class about?
Challenges.
Challenges in logistics. We're talking about the challenges in transport management. So we are taking, for example, if you've got 4 different types of cargo, what is the risk? What is the management? What are the challenges you are facing? So what is the first type of cargo I gave you? Fresh flowers for a wedding. What is the second type of cargo I gave you?
Raw materials.
Raw material, but the food stuff. The third one is already ready to eat food. prepared food. And the fourth one is cloth. And another one I gave you was
dresses,
medical
um,
lab specimens. Okay, now each four of these, can you transport them all together in one container? There are 5 of them we have in total. Fresh flowers, raw materials for food, prepared food, cloth material, and lab specimens. Can we transport all these 5 together in one container?
no.
No. So this is where your management, your challenges in management come up. All 5 are going to the same place, but you cannot put them into one container. Now, say supposing there is a time factor in this. There is, what else is there? A temperature factor is also there. Which things need to be temperature controlled? Out of the 5 that we have, which all need to be temperature controlled?
Flower,
Huh? Sorry? Which need to be temperature controlled of this 5? Flowers? Sorry?
I tell you flower,
What else? Besides flowers, what else?
lab,
Lab specimens. And you also have cooked food, ready to eat food. That also needs to be temperature controlled.
yes,
Okay, so these 3, at the same time, you cannot put these 3 in the same container. You have to have 3 individual temperature controlled containers for the 3 of them. What are the challenges you could face with this?
risk,
What are the risks you can face? What are the risks you can face? You're transporting something that is temperature sensitive. When something is temperature sensitive, when something needs to be maintained at a particular temperature for a certain amount of time, getting that cargo to its desired place, getting that cargo to its destination is time sensitive. Correct? You understand?
what not time sensitive.
Can you hear me properly, or are you not able to hear me?
Yes, yes,
You can hear me.
yes, yes.
I think the network at your end is a little bad, Aditya. Can you log off and come back on again?
Hello, ma'am.
Aditya, clearer now, better? I can't hear you, dear. Aditya, you can hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I think it is your network. It's your network, Virat. You're not very clear for me. Okay, Atul also has just joined us. Hi, Atul. Morning. Okay, so today we are talking about challenges in logistics. Okay, what are the difficulties you can face in logistics, in logistics? So the main ones, we've divided it into 4 different groups. Transport management, you can face difficulties. What else, Aditya? Transport management.
Warehouse management.
Can you hear me better now? Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so transport management, warehouse management.
Last mile.
What else?
Last mile.
You need to talk loudly, okay? Because now I am without the headphones, so I cannot hear. I'm old. My hearing is not very good.
Ma'am, last mile.
Last mile. And transport management, what are the kinds of difficulties we can face? Atul, what are the different difficulties you can face in transport management? Come closer. Come closer, so you're also in the frame. I have to sort this out tomorrow in a better way. Aditya, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
You've disappeared. Okay, there you are. Okay, so in transport management, what are the different things that you need to keep in mind when we talk about risks? I can't hear you, Aditya.
What, ma'am?
When we talk about challenges in transport, what do we need to keep in mind? Where can we come up with difficulties? Where can we face problems that can arise suddenly? Atul, you're also in this class. Sorry? Floods. Okay, those are extreme. Okay, but day to day, those are extreme. That is also one of the things that we can face. But day to day, what are the difficulties you can face? Unforeseen difficulties. Weather conditions, if you're talking about sea transport, air transport. Even road transport, what are the difficulties we can face? Strikes, traffic, transport issues, breakdowns, vehicle malfunction, optimization of roads, roadworks. You understand, Aditya?
Yes, ma'am.
What else?
Ma'am.
Sorry? Is it mine? Okay, so we have these, the transport networks and the routes. When we talk about transport networks, like I said, it is not only each individual, it's not land transport on its own, or sea transport on its own, or air transport or rail on its own. It's also the intermodal. It's also intermodal. Remember, when a cargo is being moved, it needn't follow, it does not need to follow only one mode of transport. You can have, like, for example, like I was explaining, when you have a container being loaded to be put onto a ship that will go by sea transport, the loading of the container is not done at the port itself, not necessarily, right? A seaport, a container terminal will always have a warehouse attached to it. So the loading of that container will be done at where? Let me repeat again. When a container is being loaded to go onto a ship, most seaports will have a warehouse attached to the seaport. Okay? Understood so far? Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I need your reaction, Aditya, because sometimes your video freezes. So I need you to talk and tell me, all right? Because I don't know whether you're there or whether the connection is gone. So when a container is being put together, when items are being put into the container, it's a connection problem. Okay, when the items are being loaded onto the container, it is done where? Where would it be done, Atul? You are also in the class. Where would it be done? Not understood. Okay. Aditya,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
need to shout. No, because I have to think that you're here with me, so my voice softens, but she's also there, no? Okay, now I'm painting a picture for you guys, okay? I'm going to make you envision, I need you guys to imagine this, okay? You are working for a logistics company. Correct? Got it? The logistics company is a shipping company and they ship containers. So you have an office in the shipping container terminal. Just like your office, there are many others, okay? There's UPS, there's FedEx, there's DHL, and there is also your company. Now, all four of you, or rather your company, has to stuff a container, or has to load a container that will be put onto a sailing vessel, a ship, that will take it across the ocean, across the sea, whatever, to its destination. Now, you need to pack that container. You need to load that container. You cannot do it at the loading port. You cannot do it in front of the ship. So where will you do it? In your warehouse, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Now, why we're talking about this is you have to understand that optimizing networks, optimizing transport networks does not mean only sea, does not mean only air. Sometimes it is the connection of both land and sea and air. So if a particular cargo, if a particular package has to use all three, the coordination between these three is very important. That is where optimizing your transport networks, your transport routes is very, very important. That is where one of your challenges of transport management comes into play. Understanding so far? I think we've lost Aditya. Okay. So, Atul, since you're here with me, explain how you will manage this container being loaded at the warehouse, then move to the, the port, the shipping port, where it will be then loaded onto the ship. Why is this important? Coordination between this, your warehouse, your loading, your transport with the ship. Why is this important? Timely loading, why?
There is any time restriction,
For
the ship go out.
the ship departs at a particular time. Before that, everything needs to be on board. Documentation needs to be, because the port will have its own set of regulations. So before the ship sails, all this needs to be met.
It is for the container, there is a specific place.
Yes. Even at the container port, yes, like we saw in that video, there is a specific time, a time allotted, not just when it is, even the duration, like it can have that space for maybe just 2 hours, maybe just 3 hours, maybe 4 hours. So within that time, it has to be properly placed, properly, all, whatever documentation, whatever legal processes need to be taken care of, that needs to be done. The loaded container needs to be in this particular position at that particular time so that everything runs smooth. Aditya, you're there or have we lost you? I think connection gone. Okay. So that is one of the, when we talk about the challenges that we face in transport management. What else? Now, if we take another, we also have urban versus rural. Urban, you know what urban is, you know what rural is.
No.
Rural is like a village or a small town. Urban is more developed. Rural is slightly less developed. So what do you call it? The processes might be a little bit more underdeveloped. It might be a little bit more time consuming, whereas urban would be slightly more faster, more developed, more streamlined.
Using more technology.
More technology also. So you also need to weigh both. Like, for example, when talking about transport itself, in urban, what would be the negative where transport is concerned?
Negative in urban.
In urban, lots of vehicles. So traffic jam is more possible, is much more a reality. Whereas in urban, probably not, whereas in rural, probably not so much.
But the road may be.
But the roads might not be smooth. So bumps, especially if you've got sensitive cargo, like stuff that will spill or glass, fragile items, all that is there. This is also what you need to take into consideration, urban versus rural. Then urban logistics, like we said, the most famous thing about urban logistics would be
Technology.
no, setbacks, challenges. Technology will not be a challenge here.
Oh,
We're talking about challenges.
Challenges. There is a lot of containers.
Contain, okay. But if you are in a city, what is the biggest problem that you would face?
Traffic.
Traffic congestion. Okay, that is what we're trying to say. Urban logistics, traffic congestion is the biggest problem. Now let's move on to warehouse management. In warehouse management, what are the issues? First of all, to understand what will be the issues in warehouse management, what is warehouse management? What is warehouse management? Both of you.
Controlling the inventories.
Controlling inventories. What else?
Accounting of goods.
Accounting of goods.
Packing.
Aditya, what is warehouse management?
The process
Sorry?
the process of activity involved in store,
So what are the processes involved? What are the processes involved? What are the main functions of a warehouse?
Receiving the goods,
Receiving goods.
packing,
Louder, 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 louder.
packing the goods,
Packing the goods, receiving goods,
picking,
picking goods, and then finally sending them off to their destination. What is warehouse management? The process followed: receiving, quality, checking, packing, picking, inventory control, dispatch. Now, what are the problems you can face? What are the challenges? What are the difficulties that you can face when it comes to warehouse management? First of all, storage. We've said there are different types of goods, correct? You have
temperature control.
temperature controlled. You have goods that need to be in a temperature controlled environment. Then dry goods,
Normal,
normal goods, dangerous goods, hazardous goods, goods that are highly inflammable. All these need to be stored separately in their own space, warehouse. Okay. Now, when we talk about storage of goods, we also talk about warehouse layout. What is warehouse layout? You all have watched 2-3 videos on warehouses alone. You all have seen how a warehouse operates. So when you talk about warehouse layout, both of you are interested in working in warehouses. Yes or no? What is warehouse layout?
Start a pattern following the space.
In a warehouse, in all the videos that you all have seen, there are 3 main points. One is receiving, one is storing, and the other is distributing. In between, what do you have? Packing and picking. So you have designated areas for that also, correct? So your warehouse, the main issue for a warehouse is what? Time. Because they have very limited number of a time frame. They have a specified time frame where an item has to be received, stored, packed, labeled, etc., and then moved on to distribution. So the layout of the warehouse has to be in such a way that all these processes follow in a smooth fashion with the least amount of time in between. There should be no wastage of time. This is the reason why you've seen in Amazon, in the Amazon video, in the Walmart video, you have what now? What do you have? You have robots doing this job. And each robot is what? How do they know where they have to turn, where they have got to go and pick up? Because each robot is programmed, they're coded. What about inventory? What about inventory management? How does that become a challenge, a difficulty?
Label and placing the product.
Higher demands, sorry, the customer demands or the consumer demands. What is the most important thing about inventory? Go back a few classes.
Must be safe.
Must be safe. What else? In order to meet the requirements of the customers, in order to meet. Why cold storage?
Be
We're talking about inventory management.
must be places with
What is inventory about, guys? When we talk about warehouse management, it is the warehouse, but it's also inventory. Don't mix the two. What is inventory management all about?
storing the goods.
Is it? What is inventory management, Tatya?
The number of goods in a particular product.
I can't hear you, sweetheart. Please, volume.
The number of goods in a particular product.
Sorry, say it again.
The number of goods in a particular product.
The total number of goods in a particular product. So why is inventory management important? Think about customer. Think about market trends. Why is inventory management important?
Demand.
Louder.
Demand.
Can you hear him,
Customer
Aditya?
demand. Yes, ma'am. Customer demand.
Supply and demand. If there is no
No, ma'am.
supply to meet the demand that is out in the market, inventory
No, ma'am.
management.
Customer demand.
Say it again, Aditya.
Not supply and demand. Customer demand.
Your connection is really bad, my dear.
Okay, something.
You're breaking up a lot. So where are the challenges you can face in inventory management? When you talk about inventory, it is not just finished goods, correct? It is also raw materials. So if you have something that is just in time, if you have a just in time delivery and components that go into producing this whole bit, what happens?
It's not with time.
That is a challenge, correct? That becomes a challenge. If you have even one small screw missing that holds the entire thing together, that becomes a challenge. That is where warehouse management becomes a challenge. That is where inventory management becomes a challenge. The same thing, like for example, we're talking about demand and supply. If we don't have enough number in stock, can we meet the demand? So what happens? Is your inventory management really good? No. That again is what? A challenge. Go back a few steps again, guys. Understand why it becomes a problem. What is inventory?
Customers.
Yes. And if it goes down, what do you need to do?
Fill it. Refill it.
Louder. I'm deaf.
Fill it.
You need to fill it. To fill it, what do you need to do? Go back to supply chain. Go back to logistics.
To meet the manufacturer.
You need to have it manufactured. So when you need to tell the manufacturer, I need these many amount, what does he need to do? Again, come back to inventory. He needs to make sure raw materials are in stock. So you see each and every component of the logistics chain, from manufacturer to warehousing, inventory to dispatch, is all interconnected. So the challenges need not come in, if a challenge comes in inventory, if a challenge comes up in warehouse, if a problem arises at warehouse management stage, it also affects production. It also affects procurement. You understand how the challenges work, how the shortages work? It is not just, it is only a warehouse problem. If it is a warehouse problem, the other guys also need to check. The procurement team also needs to check. The production team also needs to check. Does it also affect them? Logistics is so interconnected that a challenge in one area can affect the ones before the processes before and the processes after. What is the process after inventory, after warehouse? Distribution, shipment, distribution. Okay, operational efficiency. What is meant by operational efficiency? And in a warehouse, what is operational efficiency? What is the purpose of a warehouse? Storing, stuffing, packing, processing, labeling, and then finally putting it onto the container or sending it off for delivery. This is what is operational. If there is a break in this little bit, you understanding or not understanding? Are you guys understanding? So from the time a package comes in, the work involved there. What is the work involved when a package comes into the warehouse? To check what the package is. If it says it has 10 pieces of sunglasses, 10 pieces of sunglasses need to be there, correct? Quality control. You have to make sure nothing is damaged. Then labeling it, giving it a serial number so that scanning is easy. Then finding out where in the warehouse it needs to go. Does it need to go to dry goods? Does it need to go into electronics? Does it need to go? That sort of a thing, okay? Then what is the next step after that is done? When does it need to go out? Where does it need to go? Is it going on a container, part of a bigger shipment? Is it going to a retail, smaller store? Is it going to another smaller grocery store? Or is it going directly to the customer? All that needs to be sorted out first. If it is going as part of a bigger shipment, when is it going out? What needs to be done? Does it need to be labeled? Does it need to be repackaged? Does it need to be a small part of a bigger box of? All that is also part of it. Understand? If it is going to the end customer, are the details there? Customer name, all that is there. So this is all the operational process in the warehouse. All this needs to be taken care of with the least amount of problems in the least amount of time possible. This is where also warehouse layout comes into comes in the picture. If you've got to go there to pick it up, and then you need to go there to load it, and you need to go there to pack it up, is it feasible? Too much of time spent walking, right? So your flow of work has to be in such a way that you are not going from point A to point C, then to point B, then to D. That should not be. It should go A, B, C, D. The flow should be smooth. The flow should be done with the least amount of time wasted. Understand? All these comes into challenges. What else? What are the techniques for improving warehouse productivity? What is new where warehouse management is concerned?
That AI and robotics.
Before AI, before robotics, there is another term.
Using more labors.
Huh?
More labors.
So more manpower. Think back in the field of technology, what is used to manage a warehouse? Remember systems we spoke about? What system is used? What system is used, Aditya? To help in the processes of warehouse management, what is the system used? Cannot hear.
Pallet packing system.
Sorry, say it louder.
Pallet packing system.
Pallet packing
Or-
system can be used for pallets, but the overall general process of managing a warehouse, there is something, just like you said, pallet managing system, there is something for the entire warehouse. You're on the right path, but think bigger. Pallet is only for one small thing. Pallet is only for pallets. But if you've got to manage the entire process of the warehouse, that is from receiving to processing, to packing, to picking, to labeling, and then for dispatch, there is a management system for this. What is it? Why couldn't you say it earlier? Warehouse management system. Ting, 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 remember? Oh, you guys. We did management systems, just 2 classes earlier. Transport management system, warehouse management system, ERPs. These ring a bell? You remember these words? No. ERP, enterprise resource.
Oh.
Now. Both of you are going to test my patience, I swear. Okay, now. How are these the warehouse management system, how does it help in improving the management, the productivity, and reducing the cost in a warehouse? Atul,
Gives a,
louder.
it gives a step by step to gives a smooth flow.
What is the word? There is a word I told you guys, remember in logistics, this word is very important. What is the word? I say it very often. Automated. Automated. It helps in automating the processes involved in warehouse management. What is automation?
Automation is using technologies.
Using technology, using AI, using robotics. What happens in automation? Why are we saying it is reducing the cost? It improves warehouse productivity.
It is more efficient.
It is more efficient, correct? Huh?
Time effective.
Time effective, less time consuming, time effective, and
Cost.
one very, cost, yes, but very important.
Reduce human errors.
It reduces room errors. Basically, an automation is when a task is done repeatedly, the same task is done repeatedly over and over again by a human being, there is chances of errors. Like, for example, if you are typing in, supposing you're typing into an Excel sheet, the name, the company contact number, email address, you can make a mistake, correct? Because it's the same task you are doing over and over again. But imagine if it is a robotic, if it is automation doing it. Error is less. Time consumed is less. Let me explain how this comes in the form of logistics. Let me give you the example of, say, supposing Atul is the logistics company guy, okay? And he has got 5 main customers, or let's say 10 main customers, okay? Now, he has one customer that has a set goods manifest. So this company, let's say it is ABC company, has always 50 numbers of mobile phones, 70 numbers of chargers, 80 numbers of glass cases going to the same place every month. No changes. Now, a warehouse automation or a warehouse management system will pick out this particular client, that is ABC Shipping, and he will know exactly mobile 10 pieces, chargers 50 pieces, glasses 70 pieces. This is automatically entered into the system every month. You don't need warehouse management system is that advanced right today that you don't need to re-enter this month after month after month. This template It will be already there in the system. You just have to go to the company, type the first 3 or 4 letters of the company. The entire template will be onto your desk.
Is confirmed.
It is confirmed, no changes, same set. So where normally you would take 5 minutes to enter this, now it is done in seconds. So you understand here how time management is done, how without error also it is being done. It is already there. You don't have to key in anything. So there is less chances that you will make an error. Why error? Because in case you exchange 2 alphabets in the name, the port, the customs at port will not release the shipment because for them, it is the wrong documentation. Even though the name is there, even though it is just 2 alphabets interchanged. Like for example, it is instead of ADITHYA, it is AIDTHYA. They will still not release the shipment. This is where human error. You understand? How do you spell your name?
ATHUL.
ATHUL. But by mistake, the person typing in your name types in AHTUL. It's a spelling mistake. For them, this is an error. This considered an error. This is considered wrong shipper. They will not release. So these kind of mistakes, an automated system, a management system will eliminate this. Understand how this can be cut down, how efficiency comes in, how reducing costs comes in, because if it is stuck at the container, if it is stuck at customs, it is not released. Payment is going on, piled on. Time is lost. Customers are lost. Satisfaction is lost. Customer satisfaction is lost. This is how, where these are the unexpected things also that you do not see. Like mistakes happen. If it is a person keying in, mistakes happen, right? So, and this is where techniques are brought in to help reduce it. Any questions? Aditya? No, ma'am, everything understood. Okay. Last mile delivery. What is last mile delivery? Don't read from here. Tell me, what is last mile delivery? Shohada, you don't know. I know I've spoken to you about this. What is last mile? Okay, you don't know. Okay. Hang on, I'll come back to you. Aditya, what is last mile delivery?
The empty portion delivery.
I cannot hear you, Aditya. Shout.
The end portion delivery.
The end portion in?
End portion of delivery.
The end portion of the delivery. Give me an example. I've explained this to you, I know, at least 3 times. So now if you cannot explain it back to me, it either means I'm a bad teacher or you are a bad student. Which one is it?
The warehouse.
Give me with an example. Give me with an example. Remember, I've given you an example. Warehouse in, where are you? Where are you? What's the name of it? You are in Kottayam. I told you, remember I gave you the example of Gujarat to Kottayam, Kottayam to your house. Give me that way an example of what is last delivery. Unmute and talk loudly, please. Shout. For the next 5 minutes, you are the teacher explaining what is last mile delivery. Come on, go ahead. Then Atul will go.
I send the parcel.
You're sending a parcel to me. From where to where?
Kottayam to Bangalore.
Kottayam to Bangalore, okay.
The last mile is Bangalore.
Look, the destination is Bangalore.
Yes.
Origin is Kottayam, destination is Bangalore. Last mile is not Bangalore. But for the parcel to reach from Kottayam to Bangalore, it has to come to where? The warehouse closest to me, correct?
Okay.
Now explain from there.
Hmm.
Oh, sure. Explain.
Warehouse closer to consigning
Yes,
the final destination.
yes.
Uh,
That
Uh,
journey that it takes, okay? That journey where the delivery boy goes to the warehouse closest to me in Bangalore, to my place in Bangalore, picks up the parcel and delivers it to me. That is called the last mile. So you're right in saying it is the last portion of the delivery, but you need to explain it. Okay. For example, if it is going to a retail store, the point from the warehouse to the desk to the retail store, that is the last mile. The last mile can change depending on who the recipient is. Understand? If it is you as the customer, then that portion is the last mile. If it is my shop, then that is the last mile. If it is the retailer shop, that is the last mile. It is basically that last portion that closes up the entire process also. All right. Good job. Good job. Well done. Now, Atul, you explain what is last.
The nearest hub, distribution hub near to you, and the delivery boy picking up from there to your place.
That is what is called the last hub. So from the final distribution hub to either the consumer, the customer, the retail shop, or or last mile is the last distribution hub. From there to either the customer, the store, the retailer, or its final destination. That is called the last mile. Now, what are the challenges you can face in last mile?
Traffic,
Traffic,
health issues with that delivery boy.
okay. What else?
Breakdown, accident.
Okay, those are all there. But when you have to go from distribution center to customer, customer can be the end user, can be the retail shop, can be a store, can be anything. Final destination. What is the first thing that you need to do? You are a warehouse manager, okay? You guys are in warehouse. Before looking at the transport, before looking at the traffic, before looking at the delivery boys' health and all that, what do you need to look at first? In last mile, what is the first thing that you need to have planned out? Aditya, what do you think you need to have planned out first thing for last mile? It's delivery. Don't forget, it's delivery from the distribution hub to the client, from the distribution hub to the customer, from the distribution hub to the retail shop. What is the first thing you need to plan?
Pick up the package.
Huh?
Pick up the package.
Okay, but after picking up the package, what needs to happen? Guys, again, what is last mile? Delivering point A to point B, distribution hub to the customer. So to get from point A to point B, what do you first need to plan? In last mile, what do you first need to plan? The route. If you don't have the way planned out, if you don't have the road planned out, if you don't have the how he's going to go, what is the point of having the bicycle or the bullock cart or the steam engine also, if you don't know the way how to go? Understand? Am I making sense? You all are talking about traffic delays. You all are talking about health conditions. You all are talking about vehicles, but you all don't know how to take the road. Does it make sense? Cartoons, both of you all are. So in last mile delivery, one of the most important challenges that you can face is optimized route. Finding the quickest route with the least. Remember this class, guys, where we planned out a delivery for two different scenarios. One was with traffic stops and roadblocks and road crossing and rail crossing and everything, and one was without it. You all remember this particular lesson? What were we planning out over there? The best route. And what lesson was that? I'll give you one. What lesson was that? Last mile. Both of you are sleepy today. What else do you need to keep in mind? What else are the challenges that you would face in last mile? Besides the route optimization, you need to find out the time, the speed, right? Your route has to be able to take your consignment from the distribution point to the client in the least amount of time. So speed is important, time is important. Cost, with the least amount of fuel, because fuel everywhere. You drive? You don't drive. Aditya, you drive? No. Okay, so both of you pointless. Right now, cost of fuel is very expensive. So you also have to keep in mind cost effectiveness of where fuel consumption comes in, okay? And then the customer expectations also. These are all challenges that you will face in last mile delivery. Speed, route optimization, costs, customer expectations. And the next thing is strategies for enhancing last mile efficiency and customer satisfaction. Again, same like before, route optimization, cost cutting, effectiveness. Okay, again, it's the same thing that will be repeated. The main thing for last mile delivery is what? What is the main thing you need to keep in mind? Route optimization, finding the best route, which is time effective, cost effective. So your fuel consumption is at the lowest, and the best means to keep your customer smiling. Smiling. Your customer has to be happy. It's only then that you will get repeat customers. Don't forget that. Especially if you take, for example, Amazon, Flipkart, what is their most prized mantra? Huh? What? Flipkart, Amazon. Why are they so popular?
Because of reviews.
Because of reviews.
Many people they are better than any others.
What makes them different?
They are so fast.
Good. They are so fast, which means what? Timely deliveries, correct? Timely deliveries means what?
Last mile.
Route optimization, last mile delivery is always. Kids,
It's confusing, ma'am.
tell me what is confusing so I can help you understand it better.
I'm thinking that why is Flipkart is better
Ah,
and go to that track.
so what is confusing about that? Why is Flipkart better? Why is Amazon better?
No, first you ask me
I'm trying to make
why
you,
they are so famous.
yeah. It all boils down to having good products, yes. Cost-effective products, yes. But more than that, see, today, e-commerce, okay, all your e-commerce platforms, Flipkart, Meesho, whatever have you, LimeRoad, whatever. What is the main thing they are today? Today's people, today's consumers don't want things in 5 days, 10 days, especially when you have, I can get it tomorrow. Next day delivery. You've heard of the next day delivery. But what is this all about? Route optimization, timely delivery, customer satisfaction. I think I know what is getting me nauseous.
Huh?
I think I know what is getting me nauseous. It's this thing.
Hmm.
Okay. Now another thing you guys need to understand in logistics is risk management or mitigation, as we call it. What is risk management? What is risk management? What are the risks? We talked about the problems we can face in logistics, correct?
Minimizing the risk.
Yes, but risk management is anticipating. Having an what is the meaning of anticipation? You are forecasting. You are it's difficult to me. Hang on, let me try to explain this. It's when you foresee, when you understand that this problem might occur. Like, for example, if a vehicle breaks down, you anticipate, like if you have a vehicle that is, say, even 3 years old, it is running every day non-stop, long distance. You know, at some point in time, it will break down. That breakdown is something that you foresee, something that you already know this can happen. But risk management is knowing that this thing can happen and I have this backup. Either I have another vehicle that can go and take over, or I will put it for repairs.
Like managing the oldest vehicle to the small.
No. Risk management is foreseeing that a problem can happen, but taking the necessary precautions, taking the necessary measures, taking the necessary steps, what you will do next when this happens. Like, let's take 2 days back, I was not well. It was unprepared, unforeseen. But rather than have you guys come here for class, what are the steps I took? Telling you guys, there is no class today, don't come prepared, don't come for class. This is a smaller, much lesser form of risk management. Let's take it on a bigger scale, okay? We know there is going to be a water shortage, okay? We know there is going to be a water shortage. What is the first step you will do? What is the risk management you will take? Collect water in advance. You'll either fill up buckets or draw water, whatever. That is risk management. Okay. In logistics, what can be risk management? Short supply, less raw materials, delay in delivery, vehicle malfunction. These are the risks that logistics can face. What are the steps, what you can take? In logistics, risk management is making sure you've got, like, for example, you approach one supplier and say, I need silver buckles.
Huh?
Silver buckles. I need belt buckles. Belt buckles.
Okay, okay.
Okay, you go to your supplier and say, I need 500 belt buckles. But your supplier says, I have only 50. What is the risk management you have over here?
There is no suppliers we need.
No, that is the risk that you see. What is the management step you will take?
Give the order to many.
Either that or find an alternative. If your regular supplier cannot give you your 100 belt buckles, he has only 50, then the management, yes, like you said, you will go for another supplier who's got 50, or you will go for another supplier who's got 100. Correct? You understanding, Aditya? No, ma'am. Understanding, not understanding, my dear.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
what is risk management?
Foreseeing that the
Foreseeing a problem.
Happen, but taking the necessary
Taking the necessary
steps.
steps to avoid it, or to make sure that less time is wasted. You lose less time. Good. So that is what is risk management. Sorry, I'm still not completely okay. Strategies for mitigating risks, such as supply chain disruptions and regulatory changes. Okay, the biggest example I can give you guys of risk management, COVID. What happened during COVID?
Lockdown.
What happened during COVID? Yes, lockdown, but how did it affect the supply chain?
No, the stores are does not open.
Everything came to a standstill, correct? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Everything came to a standstill. So production stopped, raw materials stopped, everything came to a standstill. In this case, unfortunately, during COVID, there was nothing we could do because it was a pandemic. But in the case, like for example, if there is an earthquake, if there is a flood, there are steps in place. There are steps in place where you can send in goods. And are you understanding? No. No. Okay. Let's take it on a global scale. Okay. In times where there is a shortage normally happens when production stops. Production will stop when? If there is a calamity, if there is a flood, if there's an earthquake, whoever's supplying that cannot do it anymore. A backup plan would be either approaching another country saying, I need these supplies, because your country cannot, your place cannot. So you will have another country send in you supplies, medical supplies, relief supplies, because your own thing, we're talking about large scale, okay? This is where you cannot do anything, you have to rely on outside help. That is where you will have other countries sending in you the raw materials, sending you supplies, sending you relief supplies. But if it is in a logistics case or in a supply chain case where there is no natural or no natural disasters, it's just that there is a shortage of supply. The first thing you will do is, okay, if I don't have metal, can I use plastic? Okay, this is one step. If I don't have, you will basically find an alternative for it. You will always have a backup plan. Any questions on what risk management is? What is risk management?
Have a visionary for maybe there is a problem for that, and we need a backup. For if that is happened, we need to go without any problems.
It can be sourcing materials from somewhere else. It can be in an increase in production schedules. It can be working overtime for whatever staff is required for that. But on a larger scale, if in case it is a case of floods, natural disasters, you always have relief coming in from other countries. If your own supply chain, if that country's supply chain comes to a stop, you have external supply chains, the other countries giving in. So there is always risk management. Always there is a risk management in place, whether it is a small scale or a big scale or an international scale. All right. Anything else, you guys? Okay. Innovations in logistics. We've done this topic before. In technology, you've got AI, robotics, blockchain, and Internet of Things. Each one has its own